He's the newest correspondent on The Daily Show. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for John Stanley,
Tell you what, though, I've been reading as much news as I can about it, and there's no way to be fully up to date because it's all still developing. But they really won't let us have or not have TikTok. There's so much conflicting news. I've never seen so many notifications on news. News notifications that said maybe. No news is solidified. Do you know what I mean? Like, is TikTok banned or is it not? You know? Because it's like not right now. But it's not right now the way... TikTok feels like how I used to pay my light bill. Do you know what I mean? Because it be looming. I'm like, they gonna shut it off. I gotta get together. They gonna shut it off. All right. And then I call them up and be like, look, if I can get you $45 today, how much light will that get me? And like, well, your bill is past due. So past due is past due. We gotta shut it off as past due. And I'm like, but it would be less past due if it was $45 closer to not past due, right? And they're like, sir, it doesn't really work like that. I'm like, it works however you work it. Come on, I need to see. Because there was this looming ban, and then the Biden administration, which is wild. Both, at one point, Trump didn't want TikTok. Trump was like, I'm going to ban TikTok. This is years ago, but he was like, I'm going to ban TikTok. And then not much really happened with it. Then they actually like passed a bill under Biden where they were going to ban TikTok. And then it was like looming for like months, and it felt like nobody was really talking about it. Not no one as in absolutely no one, but just like the news and stuff. There were other things to cover. And then it got close. And then it got to yesterday, and it was gone. And it was gone early. It was supposed to be this morning that they cut it off. And then last night they were like, let's be safe. And they shut it off. But when they shut it off, I was like, I don't know if they really needed to do that. We had 4 more hours here. I was looking at the way I look at my light bill. Like, if they had cut off my light early, I'd be like, just because I don't have the money doesn't mean you got to take... Now you owe me 4 hours of light. That's 4 hours where I better see at night. We have so little faith in our government actioning anything that we were like, nah, it's probably not going to get bad. Like they said that, but they say stuff. That's what they do. They just be talking all the time. You ever watch C-SPAN? That's just them talking. And then they talk, and then they're like, no, we promise you'll have health care eventually. And then we're like, well, it still hurt, and it's infected now. So I guarantee you they're not going to ban it because I've been sick. And they said they were going to help me, and they still working on helping me. So there's no way they could do one thing before the other. They got to help me with my sickness before they ban the app. Oh, no, they did it. Okay, wow. Wow. It also comes down to what people use the apps for, because they all serve a different purpose. Lots of people have everything, by the way. Lots of people have all the platforms because they use them for different things. Even if they post the same thing on everything, they get different things out of it, like different feedback from the different communities that are on all the platforms, right? Because every platform has a different function. You go like Facebook. Facebook is like general life updates, but in like a major way. It's when paragraphs worth of stuff has happened to you. You know? And there's pictures too, but the pictures usually go along. Usually it's like somebody quit their job, so they post a picture of a sunset, and then they just talk about everything their job ever did wrong to anybody. really air out the whole job in the post. Twitter is mostly for when you hate something. You mostly bring what you hate to Twitter to get other people mad about it. I've had good days, and then I accidentally opened Twitter, and then I got mad about a whole host of things that I've never thought I would be mad. I didn't even know it existed until I read about it on Twitter. I don't even know if it's real. It could be a lie, but I'm very angry. You know? It's so bad on Twitter that Elon Musk was like, we gotta start being more positive, y'all. The richest, trolliest troll of all time was getting lit up so hard. He was like, y'all, kindness is the way, though. Not like the more I live, the longer I live, the more I can tell that like positivity, that's the stuff. You know, Instagram is in an interesting place right now. I'm sure everybody has a different algorithm, but Instagram been a lot more butts lately for me. And all I really do is like look up pictures of Shiba Inus. And so I don't know where they're getting Shiba Inu and then just ass from that. But we are where we are. You know, Reddit is a huge platform that doesn't get enough credit for being like in the top 5 of like used platforms. You know? And on Reddit, that's where the secrets come out. You find out stuff on Reddit you didn't think was humanly possible. People will tell you stuff on Reddit that either happened to them or that they did, where you wish that there was. You know how people said for a long time Facebook wouldn't do anything about it. For a long time, everyone was using Facebook. So this was talking about like when I was in like high school, college, everybody was using Facebook, and they were like, why can you only like stuff? You should be able to dislike stuff. You should be able to, and they finally added all the emoji icons for the different reactions to a post. On Reddit, when I'm reading sometimes, I deeply wish that there was just a police icon, just so I could be like, all right, that is jail. That's jail. Because the amount of jail-worthy things that get admitted on Reddit is truly astounding. The level of honesty coming out would make a detective shudder. Sometimes a detective is in the room hearing somebody's confession, and all the detective posts under it in the thread is, that's crazy. Like, this is your job, sir. There are bodies to find. And then TikTok served a new purpose. TikTok was in this really interesting place. I don't know if it still is to everyone, but it had the jump. It had the corner market when it came out on like authenticity. Yes. You could blow up on TikTok by being yourself. There was no like algorithmic thing that you had to figure out. Some people went that route. Some people were like, oh, you know, you have to have a flash on your video in the first 2.5 seconds. That'll make people blink, and before they know it, they've been watching for 10 minutes. Like, there were all these posts about how to get people on your page and keep them there and get followers, stuff like that. But mostly what people were won over with and how followings grew was people just being themselves. In fact, people on TikTok didn't like a polished look. That was like a real separation from the rest of social, because everything else, whether it was YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, even Reddit, when videos were posted to a degree, people really got into the production quality, because for so long all we had was Hollywood. Those were the only people that could make things that looked good, that were entertaining. And so then when it started to break out away just from Hollywood into the masses, and if you're very talented and you know what to do with a camera and you can tell a story, now people are watching your thing because it's Hollywood quality. But TikTok came along and people liked that it was messy. They liked that you were just in your room. They liked that you were just talking to them. Maybe your mic was a little off. The amount of people who post TikTok have a camera in their car to talk to the world. That's a TikTok thing. Instagram didn't have that. If you tried to talk to people on Instagram from your car in a video, telling them your thoughts, your feelings about life, you go back before TikTok blew up, you try to do this in your car on Facebook, people would be like, oh, you mentally ill, okay. I didn't know. I had no idea until you started talking about your breakup in your car. Like I was in the room with you, but I'm not. Like TikTok invented all that stuff. Like I'm not saying that there weren't people who were posting and streaming and doing stuff everywhere, but I'm talking about making it normal, right? That was a TikTok thing. And even if you have the same piece of information, you post it to the platform with different expectations, you know? Let's say you got engaged and you tell everybody on Reddit. Not everyone, but a lot of people on Reddit, when you post your engagement photo, for some reason they'll rip you apart. For some reason, they'll really come for you and be like, why you so tall? Of course, another Chad gets a girl. I mean, because people on Reddit, they can be incredible and they can be ruthless. Like any app, all of them. But Reddit, people have a special talent for getting in those feelings, you know what I mean? Like, you'll just post a picture of your hand with the engagement ring on it. Why your finger's so fat? I'm surprised you got it on. You're going to have to leave it on for the rest of your life. It's never coming off now. I hope he the one, because that ring never slipping off. You could have all the butter in the world, okay? You post your engagement to Twitter. Good luck. They may not rip you apart, but you may be served with like an entire essay about how marriage was actually this form of slavery that's been used by the patriarchy since the beginning of time, but really in feudalism to control women and stop them from finding any joy or autonomy of their own. And every time they try to break away from this sort of structure, they get beat back down by other women, actually, with the expectation that they're going to build a nuclear family, because without them, the country will fall into shambles and it'll all be their fault. I mean, everything is a woman's fault when you think about it, but for the most part, this one thing will be their fault because it's them actually doing it, you know what I mean? And then you'll get to the bottom and be like, I regret posting here. You'll post your engagement to Instagram. Instagram, I'm not gonna lie, that will be one of the better places to post, but it will be filled with a lot of fake love. It'll be filled with a lot of comments like, oh, girl, you look so good. Oh, wow, and what a beautiful, the lighting and everything. Where people on Instagram go to talk trash is the DM. You know what I mean? So everything they would have said to your face on Reddit, they say behind your back in the DM after they post, and they give it a like and they comment, ooh, you two were meant for each other. It's not gonna last. Post is here, DM is here, and people going back and forth. They'll start a whole thread under you. They'll start a whole thread under your post about how perfect y'all are for each other. I remember the first day that y'all met. It was so sweet, and he asked if he could buy you a drink. He's a total creep. I always knew he was a creep. At least she got him off the streets. It's just wonderful that your love has lasted so long. Y'all been together for 4 years. That's incredible. What a beautiful relationship. I'm surprised it took him this long. Yeah. One time, I had a friend get engaged, and sure enough, they posted to Instagram. The whole thing was going down. It was all happening, right? It was all happening. All the love, all the likes, all the you know, like when the emoji is the yellow emoji, but the eyes are hearts and the mouth is way too wide. You know what I'm talking about? You're like, It was all of that. And then a thread got started with these two friends just gushing over the pictures and how they looked and how cute it was because he brought the dog. And then it was like him and the dog were proposing, like, be part of our family. It was so sweet. And then at the very bottom, they must have mistaken the post for the DM because the very bottom, one of the friends was like, bitch. You post your Instagram, you expect certain things, you know. You post your engagement to TikTok, anything could happen. Because once again, the thing that led people to people was their sort of authenticity. So if you post to Instagram, now the parasocial relationship that gets built on Instagram is different because those people are like people that you probably kind of knew. Facebook used to just be people that you know. And Instagram made it more popular to have friends that you were never going to meet, but you do know, right? TikTok now has completely lost that sort of connection, but there is a parasocial relationship from the amount of time someone has been following you. So you post your engagement to TikTok, and people are either over the moon for you, or they're like, why am I seeing this? What's so special about your love that's on the For You page? Like, I'm not really digging this at all. It's either people who have watched you make TikToks about going on a date, about meeting the person, about dating the person, and then now you're engaged and they feel like they're there with you because they've watched you over this 4-year period. Get close to a person, start to trust them, talk about love, talk about relationship, and now you're engaged. It just feels like this moment that everyone's having together, right? Maybe you're pregnant. And you post your pregnancy announcement to Reddit. Yep. You post your pregnancy announcement to Reddit, and Reddit is like, good for you, I guess. Glad that you found somebody to bring somebody into the world with and stuff. Good. Happy for you. Here's a picture of Pikachu for some reason. You post your pregnancy announcement to X. And a thread starts. A thread from a quote tweet of you posting your pregnancy from someone who doesn't know you, talking about how pregnancy is actually a patriarchal tool that's been used since the beginning of time. Since Eve, it's been used as a structure to hold women down, connected to men that do not deserve them, all right? Men that just sort of anchored them to the family unit. And they say that they'll be providers, but they go off and they die in wars caused by other men for treasure and for land. And then you are left with the child, and a child that will eventually resent you for not having that sort of male figure in their life because it's your fault that he went to war. It's your fault that there was even a war because you were just living being a woman while there was war. How dare you, right? And so then people start arguing in the thing. People you don't know, by the way. You don't know these people at all, but now they're arguing about the merits of pregnancy, and then it turns into this weird thing about if you should breastfeed or use formula, and then everybody's like kind of attacking each other on that, and people are saying some really out-of-pocket things, and you don't really know who these people are because they have like avatars of anime, but at the same time they're talking about how like you're not a real mom unless you breastfeed, and you're like, in what world are you even human or are you AI? Like this feels like the CIA or something. It's crazy. And post your pregnancy to Instagram. Get ready. Get ready for the overwhelming amount of fake love and bad advice. Random bad advice too. Comments that are not only not helpful, they're almost not what the post is about in a way. It'll be like, congratulations, but don't drink any lemon water for 7 months, all right? Like, why? It's like, oh, I did, and now my son is a felon. It's like... You post your pregnancy to Facebook. People are over the moon, you know? They're like, oh, I can't. That's amazing. Look at you. I even read the whole thing. I even read the whole post, and now I'm going to give it the little hug one. You know, the hug one? You only use the hug one when somebody's pregnant or when something really bad has happened. You only use the hug emoji in the best of times or the worst of times. There's no in between. It's never, I got a new job, hug emoji. It's either like, this is the best day of my life, hug emoji, or at 12:58, we lost. You post your pregnancy announcement to TikTok. It's going to be wild. It's going to be wild because while you're posting to TikTok in the announcement that you're pregnant, yeah, you might have followers that are excited for you, but you stub your toe. And when you stub your toe, for a split second, you just hit your toe because you're walking and talking because you don't have it on the tripod. You've got your phone in your hand because once again, we like authenticity. Obviously, a ring light is good. We like to see the people. But for the most part, we just want to feel like we're part of your life. And so you're going around, look at the baby room, everybody. That's because we're pregnant. Yay. Oh. And now that one errant noise is the most popular TikTok of all time. That one errant noise. There's just people are now putting that noise to whole historical events, right? You'll see a whole historical event. You'll see the most irreverent posts. You know, somebody will pull something in black and white, something like the Hindenburg or something, and just your voice going, oh! I mean, somebody will make a TikTok of their uncle falling down with no noise except you going, oh! No, we're deeply unserious people. It's all in how we communicate. Like even if you're having an argument, like let's say maybe it's not a breakup, but let's say it's to that level where you're like, should I break up with this person? We're not getting along. We're not getting along at all. This doesn't even make any sense. You shouldn't be in a relationship that has this much stress. And so then you go ahead and you post exactly what happened from your point of view to Reddit. It's some of the best reading you'll ever read in your life. You know, some of the best reading of all time, you know. Am I wrong? Am I the a-hole? All this stuff. It's great. And you post everything that happened. And then the opinions start flowing in, right? And the opinions are anything from, look, I think that with enough communication and an understanding of a genuine foundation of the love that you have for each other, y'all can come to a consensus about what happened. It goes from that to kill him in his sleep. Go ahead. No, I wouldn't take that if I was you. If it were me, I'm gonna make him a pie. I'm gonna fill it full of glass. And then he gonna be eating the pie because he greedy. He gonna be eating the pie. I love apple pie. I know you love apple pie, stupid. I know it. And he gonna be eating the apple glass pie, and then all of a sudden he gonna be like, yo, my stomach hurt. And then he gonna reach for his phone. I'm gonna grab the phone and use the phone to record him while he on the ground. Ooh, my stomach hurt. Oh. Then I'm gonna ask him, was it worth it? Do you feel right now? And then I might call the ambulance. I might not. Let me see how I feel when I do it. People will admit to whole crimes they're willing to commit based off of things that other people said when they just simply asked the question, am I wrong? You said, hey, am I wrong? I don't want to go to another one of my spouse's office parties and they threw a big tantrum about it. Am I wrong? And then someone on Reddit was like, no, you're not wrong. In fact, you should kill them right now. Kill them before they can even go to work again. And then a detective in the chat room, in the thread, is like, that's crazy. I wouldn't do that. You post an argument that you're having to X. here's what happened. Look, I'm just throwing it out there. This is what happened. And then you get quote tweeted. Someone you don't know who like knows the situation because they read the tweet, but is clearly inserting a lot from their life into the argument you're having. Because you're like, hey, I don't want to go to another one of my spouse's office parties. Am I wrong? Because they threw a big tantrum about it, said that I don't support them and stuff. And then someone quote tweets it and they say, you know what? I've been in a situation like this, and while we don't know each other, I feel like we're in a similar boat because the person that I was dating at the time was very selfish, and anytime I wanted to do something or not do something for my own well-being, they didn't want to hear it. They didn't want to be a part of it, right? It was either their way or the highway. It was either their way or I was a bad partner, you know? And just because I didn't want to be with them while they were doing their work, I was a bad partner, which isn't fair because they were a drug mule, all right? They were a drug mule, and because I don't want to travel that much, I'm cool with them drug muling. I just don't like going to Mexico like that. I don't need that many trips to Tijuana. I just want to stay home one weekend. But they're like, no, you need to hold the bag. I don't want to hold the bag. You're the mule, not me. Mule better. Why are you muling with help? Do your job. It's your job. It's not our job. I work in an office. You post the argument that you're having to Instagram. And it's kind of hard because it's just like, it just doesn't really fit in that way. Like it's hard to be like, here's a picture of us arguing. Y'all go ahead and argue about it amongst yourselves. Or you could even tell a story. You could try to tell a story about what happened, but people on Instagram just don't really engage like that sometimes. Like, obviously there's arguments on Instagram and people can go back and forth in the comments and stuff. But as far as like being with you throughout the story of the argument and swiping enough times to see the whole argument, it's probably not going to happen. You know what I mean? You post the argument that you're having to Facebook, and you do get a lot of opinions, but they're mostly emojis. They're mostly like, I'm sorry you're going through that, huh? You know? Or, I can't believe them, angry face. You know? Or worse, you just get a like. I don't even know what that means. I don't know whose side are you on. I'm asking for help, but you hit me with a like. That honestly, in text and on Facebook, is some of the most disrespect that you can do when somebody really needs help, when they really need something, and you hit them with a... Just say you don't care. Please, you didn't even care enough to type out, I don't care. You hit them with a... Y'all, I don't know, I'm in negotiations right now for a job, and they said that I should set my asking price, you know, for my salary, and I've never done that before. And I looked up the normal, like, market salary for the job that I'm doing, and it's a little high from what they advertise, but it's entry level, so I don't know if I should try to bump them up and let them bring me back down, or if I give them a price that's too high, that they'll just not call me back, you know? The disrespect. You post the argument that you're having to TikTok, and not only will someone take your side, they'll take the audio of you explain the argument, and they will set it to the most beautiful scenery you've ever seen. Use it as inspiration for somebody else to leave their partner. And they turned it back on this morning. It was gone for all of whatever. 12 hours some places. I feel bad for Canadians, because apparently got shut off for some Canadians too, and they were like, what did we do? We weren't even really in it like that. How does that affect us? And then, you know, had a message this morning. They were like, oh, we're going to reinstate TikTok. And it's off of goodwill. It's off the faith that an executive order is coming on Monday from Trump that would extend the lifespan before a ban, right? But nothing has really changed because the whole thing that they said was that as long as ByteDance maintains like ownership or as long as it's Chinese owned, we can't have that. Only we can spy on us. Because I want to be clear here. The thing, I'm not acting as if there is nothing to be worried about with TikTok as far as like surveillance, as far as just sharing of information, everything. I'm just saying that like the apps, as soon as Apple saw all of the tracking that was going on and that they could get in on that tracking, but they really didn't benefit from the tracking or not the tracking. People just were in the app store, right? They added a thing where now when you open an app for the first time, or it's usually within the first few times you use an app, it'll open up and then you'll get an Apple notification that says, ask app not to track or allow, right? And the things I had to ask to not track was genuinely what, like, almost every app is spying on you. Apps that there's no way they're getting anything. I had an extra alarm app. The phone already come with an alarm, and I got an extra alarm because I didn't really like the alarm that the phone came with. So I said, let me download this alarm. And then it popped up on my phone, ask app not to track. I'm like, track what? I'm asleep. Like, who you gonna tell that I'm asleep? Can you imagine just sharing the data just every day? Every day he wake up at 8 o'clock. Do with that what you will. You know? Because honestly, that's how I feel about data. It's like everyone is stealing it or tracking it, and we as individuals have not fully embraced the importance of it. Like the importance of that privacy, because we don't really know what it's like. Because we were already spying on us. So we don't know what it's like to go from like no privacy to no privacy. And by what entity and how that affects us. You know, there's certain stuff that I'm sure is going to lead to something really horrible. They're going to track enough habits and then they'll be able to target you with something you can't help but buy. That's usually the goal of it, is to like sell you another thing down the line, right? Nobody's really trying to get to me like that. Like the alarm app isn't hitting up assassins. Like, hey, if you want to know where he is, he's going to be knocked out for the next 8 hours. You might want to make your move now. You know? But your privacy is important because it's yours. One of the things that even Google does, sometimes when you're on a route, right? Google will then ask you questions later from that route that you took. Hey, was it quick? Was it slow? How many people were there? And it's like, I don't work here. Do you know what I mean? Like, this isn't you weren't with me. You just put it in blue and I followed it. We don't have a relationship like that. How long did it take? Did it take the time that we said, or did it take 5 extra minutes? And it's like, stop trying to get me to help you with your homework. That's all it is. If they want you to do that for them, they should genuinely do something for you. You know? Like, I know the Maps app comes with the phone, but they should do something extra. You know? Google should do you a solid if they're going to get you to be doing them favors. You can't just glean all this stuff off of people and then give them nothing in return, right? Because then they don't even give you credit. They change the route. The next person that's going where you were going from where you were, they tell them, like, it's actually going to take 40 minutes, not 35. And they don't say, that's courtesy of Curtis. Curtis, the one, let us know how long it was actually going to take. We were over here just kind of guessing, and then Curtis was like, it took me 40. So now we said 40 to be safe, so you won't be mad at us and we'll look better, right? They don't do that. They're just like, 40 minutes and I bet you were right. And I don't know. I don't know if it's good or not at all as far as like TikTok goes. People are genuinely addicted to TikTok, but they're addicted to a lot of things. But people are so addicted to TikTok that it made me change my mindset around some addictions, right? Because people will say the kids are addicted to TikTok and they're doing all this bad stuff and they're losing their minds when they can't be on their phone. But then you see, when the ban was looming, the people who were really like chronically on TikTok and were worried about the ban, they started downloading other apps. Apps that were more Chinese. There are people downloading like Red Note on the cover, at least for me, didn't even say Red Note. That just said Chinese. It was written in Chinese. It could have said anything. Downloaded it, got on it. Chinese users were calling TikTok US users refugees to our face. And they weren't even being like hella rude. They weren't even clowning us that hard. They were just like, I know you don't have anywhere to go. So let this be a new home for you, okay? We embrace you. And people wanted TikTok in their lives so bad. They wanted it so bad that they were learning Chinese. Duolingo use of English to Chinese went up 216%. They wanted TikTok so bad. They were learning Chinese. They might still be learning Chinese because once again, this thing isn't over. They were learning Chinese in real time. I've never been so addicted it made me learn. You know what I mean? You know what no one has ever treated like crack? School, okay? No one has ever been outside their schoolhouse early. Just, I gotta get in, baby. No, they got all the math in there. I gotta get me some. Why would you lock the doors like that? You got all that geometry in there, all the shapes and stuff. You know how it is. I just want to be part of it. Let me do some factions, baby. Never. Even when you try to teach people the thing that they supposedly want to learn, sometimes they don't want to learn it. Sometimes you're not in the mood, right? That's how that's how I know that TikTok is one of the most powerful phenomenons we've experienced. There are people in college right now trying to get a degree in something that use ChatGPT often. This is the thing that you said you want to do with your life. You're literally going into debt to do it. And you're still like, hey, ChatGPT, what's a kidney? I mean, they got me over here doing all this pre-med biology, anatomy stuff and everything. What's a kidney? Like, do you even need that one? Is that like, can you get it removed like tonsils? No, man. It's insane. And I don't know what's next, you know? Because as of the time I'm talking to you right now, the executive order hasn't gone out. I'm not saying it wouldn't go out. It makes perfect sense for it to go out. Because even Trump himself has said that the U.S. should own a stake in it, right? But when he said the U.S. should own a stake in it, he, I think, meant more like the government. Because everything happening right now, make no mistake, is very good for TikTok. It's incredibly good for TikTok because now there's buyers coming out of the woodwork. They had this whole time to try to get some sort of stake. They were already talking to Microsoft a little bit, you know? And then, now you see Mr. Beast, you see all these people. Like, hey, look, fine, y'all. I'll buy it. I'll do it, you know? And then Musk is like, I'll buy it. And when Musk said he'd buy it, I was like, maybe just let China have this one. Like, that's not... I can't imagine Musk trying to run Twitter and TikTok, because with Twitter, he ruined Twitter, and I'm not saying this as some bleeding heart liberal or something like that. Oh, Twitter's not what it used to be. He literally called it X, which nobody liked. I don't know anybody that was like, X? Oh yeah, that's badass, dog. Yeah. Because then when you tweet, you'll X. So then you could X somebody out. Like you could just be cursing them out on your tweets and you Xing them. I love that. Said nobody. He already changed the name to something that doesn't make sense. And then it's an insane app now. It's genuinely crazy. No one likes it. It was getting big. It was getting big for a minute with the Nazis. No, genuinely, Nazis were like all about Twitter for a second. They were like, first of all, we back, okay? First of all, we back because we were getting banned. We were calling people stuff and getting banned. We were posting swastikas and getting banned. And then we were saying we like wanted to kill everybody and we were getting banned. But now we back. You know? Never thought I'd see a Nazi try to crip walk before, but like they were so excited when he reinstated all those accounts. They were like, hey! I'm doing that little dance. They can't really dance. They really just got the one move. You know what I mean? Okay. And then they got into it with Elon over different things. Because this is the thing that tripped me out about Elon buying Twitter and everybody saying it was because he was trying to save or maintain, preserve free speech, is that he immediately, even in the pursuit of buying, even before it was final, he was doing stuff that was like very anti-free speech. Like you would get into it with Elon, and then all of a sudden something would be like off with your account, right? And as soon as he took it over, he was like, guys, this whole blue checks off everybody liking you, that's done. That's done. You gotta buy your blue checks now. You have to buy your cool, because it's the only way he knows how to do it. And then this dude made this weird check system which nobody understood. They just knew if you paid like $9 a month or whatever, people would actually see what you tweeted. And everybody was calling it tweet still. Everybody. I don't know who besides the news sometimes says X. And then he offers, hey, I'll buy this one too. If Elon had bought TikTok, I think it would have fundamentally destroyed communication. I feel like, yeah. And look, it may still happen. There may still come a day where, you know, he buys TikTok, calls it X squared. You know, he might buy TikTok and just rename it to something stupid. You'd be like, let's just get straight to the point. It's called Clock now. I mean, who knows? We really are in this holding pattern. It's a holding pattern that is deeply frustrating, and it's like one of the most symbolic ways that government can get in the way, because both Trump and Biden have said, I want a TikTok ban at one point. And then both Trump and Biden have tried to not enforce the thing that they said that they wanted. Because even with Biden, it got down to like, you know, last 5 days of his presidency, and he was like, you know what, I'm gonna do y'all a solid. I'm not even gonna force the ban. I'm gonna kick it over to Trump, let him see what he wants to do, right? As if that was a move. And then the Supreme Court got involved. The Supreme Court, they didn't just uphold the ban. They were like, and you better shut down. I was like, who are these nerds? I didn't even know the Supreme Court could do it. Like, I knew that they could uphold the ban. Like, I knew legally they could say something. I didn't know they could make anybody do anything. Now I'm confused who has the power, because then the Supreme Court was like, yeah, you have to shut down. And then Biden was like, I'm not going to force it. But the Supreme Court was like, you better shut down. And then Trump is like, well, I will issue an executive order. How's an executive order from one president beat another president's not doing anything about it? Do you see how, like, it would be like if you were doing a bunch of illegal stuff, right? Let's say you're just doing hella illegal stuff. You got guns, you got drugs, you're doing all sorts of crimes. And then right at the same time, the FBI, the ATF, and the local police show up, and they just pointing guns at each other, arguing about who's gonna arrest you, is what it feels like. It's like, who can do something? That's crazy. You sitting there, everybody got an AR-15 or a Glock, and you're like, look, I'll go with whoever, but just tell me before I move. Because y'all all got one point at each other and pointed at me. And I just did what I did. I don't want to be shot extra. You know? And that's the thing. That's how it keeps you. That's how it keeps you ready to lose your mind, because you just want some form of clarity, you know? And this is all, sadly, all this is happening because the thing that TikTok gave people by existing as an app and allowing people to be on it was just community. That's all it is. People aren't necessarily just addicted to TikTok because they figured out an algorithm that was like very pleasing to the eye, or because videos are very short, or there's like earworm music that you can love to listen to over and over again, or it gets stuck in your head. Genuinely, the thing that addicted people to TikTok was community. It was like, oh, I've always been weird, and now I met weirdos like me. You'll get addicted to that. It's kind of that thing. Getting addicted to community is not necessarily a bad thing. It's kind of what having a family is like. You know? But we're so genuinely fractured in how we move that it's easier to build community and relationship with people that are distant from you online than it is like right here. Like, you ever tried to make a friend in real time? Making a friend in real time. You ever thought you were friends with somebody and then you went in for the hug? Getting a hug rejected is way worse than getting a kiss rejected. Like, a kiss is just like, okay, we're at a level, I thought something was happening that wasn't happening. You know what I mean? And the kiss getting rejected is very subtle, because you can lean in, they can be like, what are you doing, right? Getting a hug rejected is a whole dodge. That's a whole Heisman right there. You ever go to hug somebody you think is your friend? I think I'm friends with people way too fast. So you ever go to hug somebody you think is your friend, and then you get a hand in the chest? It's just like, whoa, what you doing, buddy? What's the plan here? I've tried to hug people before that look like they would rather me rob them. You know? So it's hard. It's hard to even guess what's going to happen, because one of the main reasons that they wanted a ban was because they could not control the flow of information, and they could not control the way that people were communicating with each other. You know? If you can control community, then you have everything. If you can tell a whole community what to do or how to think, then you have a power over them that is really scary, because it's not just a connection that you have with them to get them to do something. It's the fact that them going against the grain may make them lose everything. It's how cults work, you know? And everything that they accuse TikTok of doing is already what Facebook does. It's already what Twitter does, Instagram. You know? They just do it in a different way. And they do it in a way that's not as cohesive, right? Because they are really trying to get your money. And so you look at something like how people operate on TikTok, And sure, there's misinformation everywhere. There's people maybe leading people down a bad path. You wouldn't have some of the hardcore manosphere type dudes without TikTok either, you know? Young people watching this thing. This guy seems cool. He's got a cool car. And he's telling you he can get you girls, he can get you whatever. And so then you watch the next one, the next one, the next one. And before you know it, you are kind of talking like him. You are doing what he does. But that can happen anywhere. That's not a thing specific to TikTok. Social is very powerful. And it's powerful in a way that I think we underestimate sometimes. Because you got to remember that our grandparents did not grow up with this stuff. This is ours. This thing, when you were a kid and the internet was popping off, you know, or maybe you're younger than that and the internet's just always been around. It makes me feel pretty old. You know, I remember I had to explain a modem. Having to explain a modem makes you look like you drove the first Ford vehicle. Like, I had to explain the modem, not just like, I had to explain that like a modem and a router used to be different. And that you used to have to put one here and put one here. It was a different thing. And then they combined it one day and y'all spoiled because now all of it in one. When you buy the internet, when they send you internet to your house, it made me talk old. Just like, I got so caught up in like the fact that they were born in like 2003 that I was like, no, see, you spoiled, because when they send that internet to your house, when you plug in them internets, you just get it right away. We didn't always get it. We had to troubleshoot it. We had to be like, now the router say I got internet, but the modem say I don't. So then let these two battle it out real quick. You know, sometimes you got a modem in and the modem didn't even work. You be getting mad. You shaking the modem. No? Because our grandparents didn't grow up with this sort of thing. But they are just, look, Facebook is their TikTok. Every generation of people has a TikTok is TikTok for the young people. A little bit older, Instagram is our TikTok. And then Facebook. It's TikTok. You want to know how I know it's their TikTok? Because the things that they pull off of Facebook, the things they say to me that they saw on Facebook, I've never heard in the history of my life. I remember when TikTok came out and I was like, damn, everybody 18 and younger can just dance now. That's crazy. Everyone I do, you would see people making TikToks out in the world just in a parking lot like... You know? And then you see that. It's not dancing. It's in the form of like conspiracy theories with our grandparents. Our grandparents saying stuff coming off of Facebook I've never heard before. They'd be like, hey, you know them dinosaur eggs they found? What? Them dinosaur eggs they found. They full of gold. My boy was talking straight up. He was talking to his granddad. His granddad had been going down this thread of conversation, had joined this community on Facebook, and his granddad genuinely explained to him what was happening that nobody was talking about right now, really went into lots of detail and stuff. And what his granddad thought was actually happening in the current moment was just the plot of the movie The Mummy. It was just him being like, no, see, you don't understand. So they buried these dudes a while back. They mummies, right? But then they buried them with these like talisman type things. And so they could wake up at any moment. Like, you gonna see it. It's gonna be just like COVID. You know, everybody gonna be living their life. Then all of a sudden somebody gonna be like, oh, and then... The levels of conspiracy I've seen off Facebook lets me know that, like, okay, part of what's happening is that they literally join. It says it, community. They join this community. And they talk to these people all the time. These people get each other riled up. They enjoy each other's company, at least in a sense, right? They're typing, but it's still like somebody is there. If you want your grandparents to stop believing in conspiracy theories that they get off of Facebook, just call them. It would be the biggest distraction to conspiracy theories we've ever seen. Just call, just distract them. Just be like, hey, you on the computer right now? Hey, how about you just sit down and chat with me? Let's FaceTime. And then in the FaceTime, you can make sure that you don't see the glow of a computer on their face. And you can just talk to them about things that are actually happening. How's your day going? Oh, well, you know, my hip isn't what it used to be. You know what I mean? But just that, building community with your family stops this thing of like, you know, them dinosaur eggs. I don't know. I don't know if it's good or bad anymore. You know, like a part of me thinks that maybe it's pretty good because of what I saw as it was shutting down. I saw people sharing some of the first TikToks they ever watched, some of the first ones they ever fell in love with. Everybody was like really coming together. I didn't even see a bunch of infighting. There wasn't like 5 things that men should stop doing if they ever want to date again. It's like, it was just people being like, hey, remember this thing? That was pretty funny. That was so nice. You know? And I hope it can continue that way. I hope we can always treat TikTok like this thing that we almost lost if it does stay. You know? Because when you almost lose something, you kind of hold it a little bit more precious, right? And then it could be like the opposite of X. It could be like... But the main thing that people got so rabid over with TikTok was just connection. You're in a community now. You know, you're a community of people. These people get you. These people are either going through what you're going through or they at least understand what you're going through. So there's a shared language that I don't have to break down what I'm like to every single person all the time. You know? And then to lose that, yeah, it might make you learn Chinese.
Boston, please make it loud for Josh Johnson!
I saw where the lottery, at least at the time that I'm speaking, has worked its way up to $1.8 billion. That's a lot. It's so much you wonder, should I?
Absolutely.
That's how they get you. You know, growing up my entire life, I knew people who played the lottery. And I don't know if I know any winners. I just know a few people went missing. And like hard missing too, not even a funeral. Like, I don't know, $1.8 billion. That means even after they tax you, tax is gonna take about half of that, right? Even after they tax you, you're probably gonna be a billionaire. That's instantly a billionaire. And I'm not saying this to like, you know, beat down on anybody or be disparaging, but it's like, who plays the lottery? People who need the money. So imagine needing money and then becoming a billionaire in like a day. A day. You needed $252. You had rent and a car note, and now you're a billionaire. A billionaire. You gotta capitalize it's $1 billion. Even if they get you real good, even if they tax you to death, you're still high millionaire. And with some good investments, you'll hit billionaire over time. Look at... I don't think y'all understand. this is the thing, we think we understand what billion is because billionaires keep playing in our faces. But we have no, like, comprehension of how much money that is because we're people. Forget like multiple, a billion. You can't even waste that, a billion. You can imagine, oh, I had some bad investments. $1 billion's worth of bad investments? That's enough to topple a small country. No, because I look at the billionaires of the world and the high millionaires, so almost billionaires of the world. And in a couple of the examples that I'm thinking of, right? If you make it to billionaire status, whether it's through valuation of your country or your company, or whether it's through valuation of your company or just general assets and everything over time, if you hit that billion status and you didn't grow up with a ton of money, like if you're already a billionaire, it almost doesn't count. You'll see billionaires, they're the sons of billionaires, and they'll be like, I made my own thing. It's like, you didn't though. But you didn't. Like you never really did anything. Like it's, and look, I know you probably worked really hard, but your hard work had a $1 billion head start to it. So it's just, you could make a bad idea worth $1 billion. If you put enough money behind it with enough time. Look at Crocs. And look, that's not me. No, look, that's not me just dunking on Crocs for the sake of it. I'm saying as a shoe, you are so unprepared to go into the world. Every time it rains, you kind of feel it. I've had so many fights with my friends over Crocs, and it's not about the Croc or the design or whatever. It's about the fact that it's a Swiss cheese shoe. The holes make it a shoe problem. It is not like okay, I live in New York, and we have far too many. I don't even know the number. We have more, I believe, rats than people. I'm pretty sure there's probably 10 million for every 2 people in New York. And one time I was walking with my friend who had Crocs on. Ill-advised, especially in New York. If you want to wear Crocs in, like, I don't know, like a beachy town, go ahead. Be comfortable. Let your feet breathe. Wearing Crocs in New York City, wearing Crocs in New York City is like wearing a shirt that on the front and the back says, "Please rob me." That's the level of prepared you are to go out into New York City when you're in Crocs. My friend was in Crocs, and we were just walking down the street, okay? Just nice little stroll, having a conversation. And then, as you would expect when you are walking in New York, as it is almost law when you are walking in New York, a rat ran across our path. Some people have to deal with deers in the road. We have to deal with rats on the street. And this rat running across our path judged it wrong. Was a little late. Usually when you're walking in New York, a rat will run across you real fast up ahead. This rat must have had some hesitation. You could tell this rat was like, okay. You know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. No. I'm not going to do it. Actually, no. You know what? I can do this. Let me get. Ah! And then it ran across our path, but by the time it ran across our path, we were at our path. And this is upsetting. Sorry if you're eating. But the rat ran across our path, but by the time it decided to cross the sidewalk, we were already there. So this rat ran right over both my feet. And then it came time to run over my friend's feet. My friend in Crocs. And this rat looked exactly like, you know, with football players doing that spring training with the tires over here. The rat was nimble at first. It got through 2 holes, no problem. Third hole, rat tripped. Animals don't trip like people, you know what I mean? People might trip, be a little embarrassed, but we get up and we know we have a day to continue. If a rat gets tripped up in your crock, that's the rat's whole priority right now. Because to be fair to rats, they get trapped all the time. How is this rat supposed to know this isn't one of those rat traps that take you to rat heaven? And so this rat starts freaking out. Starts like trying to pull the other leg out and everything, but then the next leg gets stuck. And so now this rat is, it has been 0.0 seconds, by the way. This rat has already tripped and is stuck in 2 crock holes. And is over here fighting for his life to get out. Is doing whatever he can. This rat over here, And look, I'll be honest with you right now, I don't even know if I imagined it, but I swear I heard it. I heard where the rat got free because I heard the little pull the little foot out of the crock hole and then ran away. And then my friend, who had just been defending his Crocs, had the nerve to be like, I'm like, yeah, cut it off. You need to cut it off. Ran over my foot too, but look at me. Intact. And so you have even if it's not the company, the CEOs of these companies reach high $1 million billionaire status. You know? And it happens usually over time. Usually, if you don't come from money, you reach billionaire status or high millionaire 20, 30 years of your life. And being a psycho as well, like working 80-hour weeks and like just doing crazy stuff. And sometimes you get to get ahead because you cut some corners or you cheat some people or whatever it is. But then when you turn around and you have this like multi-billion-dollar valuation, you did it. And it took all that time, but like you're, 30 years removed from when you started. These billionaires, these millionaires, the ones that don't come from like extreme wealth, takes 20, 30 years of your life to get that money. And look how evil they are. I can only imagine. I can only imagine what happens if you get it in a day. Look. For any amount of lottery winnings and for any amount of like money, when you dream about money, that's what we do. Someone's like, what would you do with $100 million? And you might even have a list already. What would you do? And you think you know what you would do. And I'm not even saying that people are lying when they say these things. I believe that people really believe this is what they would do with the money. But then you're a billionaire in a day. Nothing can prepare you for that. Nothing can prepare you for that much money money being that much power in a day. I don't know, like, I know what I'd like to think I would do with that much money. Because the amount of money that you've been living on is the amount of money you need to live. Like that, like, I know that in the US, like in America, that's like blasphemous to say. But it's like, even when I was broke, the amount of money that I had, which was not enough, was somehow still enough because I'm not dead. You know what I mean? And so obviously people need to get by. People deserve a higher quality of life and everything. I'm not saying this to say that if you're barely scraping by, that's all you need and be done with it. I'm just saying that sometimes you can get in your head, especially when you get a little more, that you need a bit more, and then you need a bit more, and then you need a bit more, to the point where people around the country who make six figures say they don't feel rich, right? And some of them making the high six figures. They've done studies about this and about why your brain never turns to rich when it's you and it's over time. You'll see millionaires say, well, I'm comfortable, but I'm not like rich. And then you're glad that it's through a screen, or else you might. But I don't know. I mean, what would that do to a person? A day. A billionaire. Who knows? Maybe money really does change people in a way that you can't even fathom until you have that much money. Maybe you get $1 billion in a day, and out of nowhere, you don't even recognize yourself. $1 billion. And you're just like, wow. Huh. I could use some slaves. I think that... Look, I don't know what makes you so evil as a billionaire over 30 years, but I can only imagine it's exacerbated when it's overnight. Like, I can only imagine it becomes instant when you get the money instantly. That's crazy. Because look, we all have a list. Even if you act like you don't, you do. If you want that much money overnight, you might have a list. There might only be 5 things on your list. Hey, I want to take care of my friends, take care of my family, want to travel, and I want to help in a way that I've been helping, but I didn't have the money to really push the help, right? So that's what, 4, maybe you have 5 things. But then, after you do all that, maybe you have some money left over. What do you do with that money? Can you make another list? Can you make a bigger list? Maybe. But if you can't, you just keep trying. Oh, you know, let's fix the roads. Let's try to fix the school system. Let's try to... But then there's still some money left over. What do? I think you might lose your mind. That's probably why billionaires are like that. Because think about it. Look, their list didn't have any of the stuff I mentioned on it. But like it... But even though it didn't, it clearly had things that they cared about, whatever those were. And maybe they were only related to their company. Maybe they were only related to more business and getting more money. But even as those things got checked off and you tried to keep up with a list, you tried to make more goals and you were meeting the goals as fast as you were making the goals and everything. And then everyone around you is a yes man because they want some access to that money because they're also trying to climb, right? And then you finally have gone down the list so hard that you're just like, maybe Mars? What about Mars? Mars would be cool, right? Like, Mars would be dope. Does people starve? Mars, though, that would be dope. And it's like, yes, it sounds dope. And I hope he goes. I hope he does. Like, that'd be fire. If he went to Mars, spend your fortune as the richest man in the world to be the poorest man in the universe. Because I guarantee you spend your whole life and then you finally, let's say it finally happens. You have a voyage to Mars. And let's be as generous as possible. And let's say that like the rocket works. You already sent enough stuff there that it's not like quite the movie The Martian, but it is like that because you are going to be by yourself. You know? No, I'm just, probably. And then you land in Mars. Richest man in the world. Lands on Mars, gets out, is walking around and realizes that Mars is just like Arizona with some extra tent to it. Like, looking around like, oh, okay. Whoops. Because money is... We'd like to think that it's more than this, and sometimes it is. You can point to points in history where it is more than this, but like America is money. Land of opportunity. Opportunity is access, but it's also money. Money is how we define identity. Maybe you don't as a person. Maybe, I don't believe any one person is just their job or their net worth. There are things that you are that are deeper than all that stuff that's going to pass away. But that is how we as Americans define each other, is money. In fact, when you get your identity stolen, it's because they mess with the money. I don't know of anyone who said they got their identity stolen and it was in a Lifetime movie sort of way. I have yet to meet anybody who said they got their identity stolen and they know it was stolen because they came home and there was a dude who looked just like them hugging their wife. And they were like, honey, it's me. And then she was like, And then the imposter was like, don't listen to him, honey. It's me. Can't you tell? And like, hey, what are you doing in my house? And then the kids run in, and they run up to him. Hey, Dad, who's this stranger? What? Kids, it's me. And they're like, we don't know you. Our dad's been home all day. And then you have to fight with this dude, and then, there's somehow a gun in the house that nobody knew about, and then y'all struggle, and then y'all are spinning, so then nobody knows anymore because y'all were wearing the same thing. Who's the real husband? Who's the fake husband? And you're you just running around, grabbing the gun, knocking the gun out of each other's hands, and then, there's some bounty commercials in the middle because this is a Lifetime movie. But then you pick up the gun and you're like, get out of my home, stay away from my family, right? And then the imposter goes, and then runs up to you and y'all hug one last time. The gun goes off and nobody can tell who was shot until what is it? Until the Nair commercial. Like Nair, that one, like... I've watched a lot of Lifetime with my mom and my aunt. And so then they come back from commercial and y'all are both backing up and you're like, somehow in a movie, whenever somebody has been shot and someone shot someone, they both react the same. I always find that very annoying. The person that pulled the trigger is like, but then the person who was shot is like, And then y'all back up. The gun falls. It falls in the middle. We don't need it anymore. One of you was shot. And everybody's backing up, and then you see some blood. You see blood, and then you see blood because y'all were hugging when it happened. So whoever got shot also bled on the other person. So it's been about 5 minutes, and we still don't know who was shot. Very frustrating. And then finally, one of you goes, you'll always be my family. And the other one turns around and looks at you. And the wife and the kids go, Dad! and hug them. Then credits start rolling. The picture gets a little bit smaller because they got to roll the next movie right next to the other movie. So it's like it gets that little half-size thing where the credits are rolling, which actually sort of ruins the end of the movie in case there was any other note of anything that the director wanted. But anyway, and through the credits, through the little tiny half screen, you see the person hugging the family look up at the camera and go. And identity is never stolen that way. It's always stolen in relation to your bank account. No, because that's who you are. That's who you are to the bank, and that's who you are to any business entity is your money and the number that you are. You know. Now look, I would like to think that everybody knows that everyone's more than that, but that is how you break down. That's how you're calculated. You know what I mean? You're moved around as a number, and the numbers that make up the numbers you have are how people see you. You know? So when you get your identity stolen, it's not because they actually stole who you are. They stole who you are in a version of how people see you for your money. Having your identity stolen is terrifying because you don't know when you'll get out from under this. It's you. It's you. But the bank doesn't know that. You might as well show up to the bank like you just got home to see your wife and kids and there is an imposter next to the bank teller's booth right with you. Y'all might as well be shoulder to shoulder. Like, no, I'd like to make a deposit. No, I'd like to make a deposit. Because you also have to factor in what that money doesn't just do to the person, what it does to the people around them. Some of y'all may not remember this. I barely remembered it until I started just reading about people who had won the lottery and what usually happens. Because there's this myth that everyone that wins the lottery goes bankrupt and ruins their life. It's not actually true. It's about half. Which are better odds than winning the lottery. And the difference between the people who crash out and the people who do well are the decisions they make as soon as they win. And now it's almost down to a science. There are people who are financial advisors that seek out lottery winners to help them because they've done it for other lottery winners and stuff. But there was this one woman. It was crazy. This happened in the 90s. I think it was 1990, right? This woman was a server, and she got tipped a lottery ticket. And so she, put that lottery ticket in, and she won. She won $10 million. And then everyone around her turned. The people who were also on shift with her, they tried to sue her. Because I don't know if this is one of those restaurants where, sometimes you work as a server and everyone's tips are pooled together and then you split them at the end of the night. Or if it was just that they were saying that was their table. I don't know what all the lawsuits were, but I also know that the man who tipped her the ticket tried to sue her. Yeah. Her ex-husband even kidnapped her. And she had to shoot him in the chest. The chest is one of the wildest places to get shot. Because there's still some plausible deniability there, but you know where you were aiming. And then the IRS came for her, walls closing in all around money. Because people will do crazy things for money, and people will let the idea of money shape how they treat a person. Money is only second to people in the idea of something that's in front of you that means a bunch of different things. People can mean the whole range of emotions to you, but so can money. If someone won $10 million, if they won $1.8 billion, some people see that as money, but a lot of people see that as hope. They see it as power. They see it as like a salvation out of their problems. They see it as whatever your imagination can mold. Because there are some people that if you got given $1 billion right now, outright, there's so much good you do with it. And then there are other people that if you got $1 billion tonight, you'd be like, oh, I have some things to revisit. You know, $1 billion. $1 billion means, you know, you could buy everything around a person. You could buy everything around. Imagine for $1 billion, you could hire a private investigator to find your high school bully. All right. Because let's say they're not on, you know, maybe they're not on social, not everybody is, and so you hire this private investigator to find your high school bully, and maybe this bully gave you like a really catchy, mean nickname, you know? Maybe it was something that happened to you, something real bad. Maybe you got sick at school one day, and maybe you didn't make it to the bathroom, right? And so he called you Wet Willie for 4 years, right? In this scenario, your name is Willie. And you hire this private investigator to track him down. Maybe his name's Travis, right? You like, find me Travis. And so then the private investigator says, hey, I found Travis. He's living in Connecticut, and he's married, and yeah, looks like they're pretty happy. And you're like, okay, this is good to know. And so, with your money, you buy the house that's for sale next to Travis. You're moving in one day, and you know, Travis and his wife are walking in to their home, and you're moving one of the boxes. Nothing in the box. You don't need to move. You can pay people to move for you, but and you're like, oh, hey. Travis? And he's like, oh, Willie, Will, wow, how have you been? Wow, this is crazy. Are you? Yeah, I'm moving in right next to you. That's crazy. That's crazy. He's like, yeah, that is. Wow, this house has been on sale for months, and now it's, what a coincidence. And you're like, yeah, a coincidence. Yeah, that's what it is. And you see that not only do you have this nice house in front of you, but, ooh, Travis has a phenomenal house, you know? There's an HOA, so they're pretty similar, but overall, very big and very nice, you know? And right then, Travis's wife walks up, Susie. Susie walks up, and she's like, hey, babe. And then he's like, hey, me and William went to high school together. This is my wife, Susie. And you're like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. You shake her hand, and you're like, wow, this is crazy to just, you know, you move to a new place and you don't know, usually you don't know anybody, and now I got pals right next door. And Travis is like, yeah, this is wild, man. You should come over for dinner sometime. Come over for dinner. And you're like, oh, wow, how's tonight? And Travis, because you know, this is the thing about bullying. A lot of bullies don't remember what they did. And even if they remember what they did, they remember it in the context of whatever they were going through. And so even if they were like a mean kid, they just remember being a mean kid because other stuff was happening. I don't know how often real bullies think about the fallout of their bullying and what it might have done to somebody present day, you know? So maybe Travis is perfectly pleasant. Easy to believe. It's been a long time, you know? And so he's like, yeah, I mean, I think, no. Okay, we do have a little date night tonight, but how about tomorrow? tomorrow night we should have dinner. You just come over to our place. We'll cook for you. And you're like, wow, yeah, Travis, it sounds great. All right, I'll see y'all later. You take your empty box. Walk into your new house with no furniture in it. But you don't need furniture. You're here for revenge. The type of revenge that only money can buy. And you're so excited, you don't even know if you can sleep. And so you lay on the floor of your brand new house. Because hate makes you comfortable. And then the next day comes, right? The next day comes and, you've had a private investigator on Travis for a while. You even had a private investigator on Susie. You already know her name. And so the next day, during the day, you go over to Susie's workplace. Susie works at a salon, right? And so you go over and you're like, hey, what? This is crazy. Wow. Susie, neighbors, and then I need a haircut? You do hair? Wow. You get Susie to give you a haircut, and when you're getting a haircut, when you're getting the wash, the shampoo, the conditioner, and everything, there's time to talk. You get to know a person. Or pretend to, because you already hired a private investigator. So you land in the sink and y'all are chatting it up, and you're a personable enough individual, so y'all are cackling back and forth. And then at the end, Susie puts the mirror in front of your face, and you're like, wow, a magician. Truly incredible. Thank you so much. And then you go to pay, and then you put a $10,000 tip on your haircut. Susie's floored. What? I can't accept this. You absolutely can't. I haven't felt this good in years. You made me look like a new man. In fact, I don't know, I'm sorry, I never do this, but are you doing anything after work? And Susie's like, yeah, the dinner that we have. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's right. But, okay, I don't know, it looks like salon's closing up and everything. Dinner wasn't gonna be for a little while. Do you want to hang out for a little bit? We're gonna end up chatting anyway. Let's just chat. Let's just have a chat, and then we'll head over to your place. And you're like, does that sound okay? And she's like, yeah, I guess so. It's fine. Yeah, I'll close up here, and then you're like, okay, yeah, hop in my car, right? And she hops in your car. It's very nice. It's ridiculous. It's whatever car is nice for the period we're in. So just imagine. Imagine the type of car, and it is that. And Susie's also impressed. She's like, wow, okay, you must have done very well for yourself. And you're like, yeah, I do all right. Because then, no matter what car it is, I assume it goes fast, right? And then he's like, actually, I know I'm new to the neighborhood and everything, but can I show you something? And she's like, yeah, sure, okay. And you drive. You end up driving to this little patch of land that's off by the wayside, and there's a small little airfield there, and You park, and Susie's like, what is this? And you're like, oh, yeah, I got a call, it was a text while you were doing my hair and everything, and there's just something I have to check out over here, so let's just walk through. And you walk through this little air hangar, and it's to your private jet. And she's like, wow, you have a jet? And you're like, yeah, I do. I mean, I guess it's a false alarm. There's nobody that needed anything. Yeah, nobody's even here. I tell you what. How about this? I know we're supposed to have dinner tonight at your place, but why don't we go to Paris? She's like, Paris? You're like, oh, I'm sorry, do you prefer Milan? We can go to Milan. What are you even saying right now? I'm like, oh, no, I'm just saying, we're supposed to get dinner. Let's have dinner. We have dinner without Travis. And then she's like, oh. I don't know what to say. What is the tip? And then now he's invited. I'm married. No, I know. I don't know. Now? Yeah, now. Actually, you know what? And then the stairs. Wow, my heart is just skipping a beat. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go. And you're like, great. And so then you both hop on the jet and taxiing and everything. And just before takeoff, you send Travis an audio message of the entire thing. You add a little something at the end. You're like, this is from Wet Willie. Because now you have $1 billion and you could be good or you could... Oh. Because that is how bad things are now. We used to make fun of people that played the lottery, and now it seems like a sound fiscal decision. It sounds like a sound business plan to save a little money, put a little away, and buy some lottery tickets. It's either buy some lottery tickets or, lean in front of a BMW. You know what I mean? You gotta lean in front of a BMW, coming at about, slowing down, so hopefully about 12 miles per hour. You know what I mean? Enough to do some damage, but not quite kill you. You know what I mean? Like when you get hit, it's gonna make that sound. You're gonna hear some stuff. Some of that stuff's gonna be you, and some of it's gonna be the car. You might even lose consciousness for a second, but you will, hopefully wake up. And there's some real technique to it too. I don't know if you saw that video. There's a dude who you could tell he was too. You could tell he was too nervous. He shouldn't have done this, and not just because it's fraud. He shouldn't have done this because you could tell his heart wasn't in the grift. You know what I mean? His heart wasn't in it. Like, some people, the grift is who they are. They buy into the grift completely. When I was a little kid, my elementary school teacher got into a fender bender, right? And got in a fender bender with this dude and bumped him just enough to get a little bit of separation, but you could tell that she had hit him, and he immediately got out of his car, went into the trunk, pulled out a neck brace, and laid on the ground, right? Which, if you're gonna do that, just wear the neck brace the whole time. Then you'll even convince the person that, you know, I'm not gonna tell you how to grift, but so if you're gonna do this, you gotta commit. You gotta know long before this BMW takes that turn at the intersection that this is what you're committed to do. And there's a video of this dude. This still cracks me up, right? Okay, so this dude is over here, and you can tell he wants to jump in front of the car. Maybe he has the whole insurance scam planned out and everything, can sue, whatever. You just gotta let a BMW hit you and hope it's not a rental. Yeah, it is. Oh, nothing would make you madder than getting hit by a broke person. And so then it's over here waiting, right? And like just from the CCTV, because this is how I watched it, right? Just from the CCTV and the clip, you can tell that there's some nervousness in the knees. Like the knees don't scream commitment. You know what I mean? Like they're not, his feet aren't amped to do it. They're not like hoppy feet. You know what I mean? Like this is like, ooh, I'm gonna do some fraud. Ooh, you about to get defrauded. Right? But he had more of a, oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right. And you could tell he was thinking too much about how he was gonna land. That's the problem. Because you gotta know, if you're gonna jump in front of a car, you gotta know, okay, am I gonna be mostly grill or mostly windshield? All right? Both have their drawbacks. All right? Now, grill will push you forward. It'll push you forward an amount that will make you look dead to a bystander. So that is a good way to go if you try to do this with witnesses, and witnesses who are not in cahoots with you, right? Windshield is very dramatic, right? Windshield is very theatrical. Usually when you see, they do a lot of windshields on like Law and Order SVU. That's usually, you know, like when somebody running from the cops and they can't seem to catch them. They give them just enough room for them to run out of the streets. For the cop who didn't feel like running to hit them with the cop car. It's always very convenient when it's like 3 cops and then 2 of them run after a suspect, and then one of them is like, oh, all right. And then sure enough, they're always there at the right time to just bow, right? Now, if you're gonna go windshield, just know that some glass could crack, okay? And it's worse if it doesn't. If the glass doesn't crack at all, you got hit by a big bullet, okay? But if the glass cracks and you roll over the glass and maybe you land on the side of the car, that also looks very bad. But depending on how you hit the windshield depends on how believable the hit is. Because when you get hit by the grill, you're just taking the hit, right? Just boom, boom. High risk of being hurt. Very high risk. Windshield looks a little bit more, oh no. Ooh, you got me. Oh, what will I do, right? Because you can't really control your body as it gets hit and it's on the windshield. So you hope you go over the windshield. That looks like a very bad hit. But if you stay on the windshield, it starts to look like your fault even if it wasn't. Like it's just... The optics aren't great. And if you slide off to the front, it looks like you didn't get hit fast at all. And so you see this dude, okay, all right. And then he goes for it. But not only did I see him in the clip, in the CCTV video, you know, like thinking about it too hard. The person in the BMW also saw him thinking about this very hard. And it didn't help that he chose to do this at an intersection, which means they were going to be slowing down anyway. And so then he finally goes to jump into the street, and they've already come to a short stop because they saw him coming. But look, he's already put a lot of thought into this. He will not be denied. And so even though the car is almost at a full stop, he goes, obviously, the claim didn't go far. But you could do that, or you could play the lottery. You know what I mean? Because I really do hope that the person or the people that win, like have a good life and do something well with it. There's so many scams now. Sometimes if the person's identity is known, that's actually what like ruins their life, because then there are scammers who will never meet this person, don't know this person, but then they will masquerade as them online, hitting up people around this person, trying to get whatever private information so that they can scam that other person, not even the lottery winner, you know? And it's why people have become more savvy. Now you have lottery winners all over the world, not just in the US, and not just for like the Powerball, Mega Millions, or any of that. Now you have lottery winners in the US show up with like a ski mask on. So many lottery winners look like they're there to rob the lottery. You know? And I don't know, I just look at the lottery as like maybe one of the best metaphors we have for how America is. You know, because you know, we all participate. That money is pooled together, and it is, and I don't mean in terms of ownership, I just mean in terms of how the money came to be there. It is all of our money. It is all of our money pooled together for 1 to like 6 people to have. In fact, sometimes you'll watch the lottery. You'll watch someone win, and you'll be like, huh, wow, I worked at a company like that. That's crazy. Because some of what the lottery of trying to make it in America is luck. We like to think it's hard work, because then that means everybody could do it. But that's not actually the case. I know people who have worked hard my entire life, and they were on a hamster wheel. They were on a treadmill, and they were just trying to keep up because somebody was pressing the speed up on the hamster wheel. That's what it feels like is happening to everybody right now. You know, you're doing your best, and the speed just keeps... And then, you know, some people are on a treadmill where the speed just keeps getting increased. Some people, look, to their credit, they have some golden handcuffs. Maybe they're doing a little bit better than everybody, but the margins that they live in are just as thin. And so they're on like a Stairmaster. They're up higher than the people on the treadmill, but, you know, they still run the risk of falling off at any given point. And so the other person's running as hard as they can. This person's stepping as high and as fast as they can. Because if they can skip a step, it's not going to keep them good forever, but it'll keep them level for a while. And so everybody's working as hard as they can. People who make 6 figures are still thinking, I don't really have enough to get by. That sounds crazy to anybody who's living off of less than 50K, somewhere where the standard of living, you need to be at like 80K. There are people scraping to get by. And so rather than just accepting that this gym sucks, people just keep going as hard as they can until they either their heart gives out or they end up in one of those like fail videos. Because look, it's $1 billion. It's a billion. That's a lot. And I know it's the lottery, and I'm just making an example. I'm not specifically speaking to everyone to like go run up to the lottery office or something. Like that's not what I'm trying to say. I think that we have let the lottery basically become one of the better ways to get ourselves out of a mess, you know? And it only gets you out of the mess. Maybe you can bring some people along with you. That's nice. That is nice. But you don't know everybody. You know what I mean? Like, you know your friends and your family, and that'd be very sweet for you to take care of your friends and your family, but you don't know everybody, and you don't know everybody's intentions. You don't know what everybody's going to do with the money. You don't even know if giving some of these people the money is the best thing to do. You have no idea. And maybe it's why, speaking outside the lottery now, maybe it's why like people shouldn't be able to amass that level of wealth. Not because I want to take from somebody the thing that they have for whatever reason. Maybe they really did earn it. I don't see how, but like maybe they really did earn it. Maybe they deserved every like $50 million bonus that they ever gave themselves, right? Maybe they know their heart and they know that they really deserve this money. But maybe you know, they laid off a bunch of people and they bought a bunch of stock back and they did some stuff to do some stuff to get some stuff, you know? And so I'm just saying is, you know, it's one thing when it's a lottery, it's a different thing when it's like our entire, you know. Because then they wonder, I don't know. Then they wonder, they're like, why is everybody so mad at us? It's like, oh, you can't not really get it. It seems crazy. And look, don't get me wrong. I'm an American. I would love $1 billion. It's probably part of the problem.
Give it up for Josh Johnson.
I've been loving getting to watch in real time the indictment of New York Mayor Eric Adams. This dude sucks so much. It's so bad. This dude sucks. I don't know who your mayor is, but be glad it's not Eric Adams. This dude is the worst. He's so corrupt. And it's like corruption. This is what's disappointing about Eric Adams' corruption, is that it's like petty. Do you know what I mean? We expect politics to be corrupt. It says a lot that we do, but a part of us, you know what I mean? And what does that say about us to a certain degree? I think about that a lot. What does that say about our expectations, that we expect corruption? You know what I mean? At lots of levels. You know, city councilman did this thing, president did this thing, whatever it is, we expect it. And then when people run, we don't really believe in them. Maybe if someone can make us believe in them along the way, that's the person that we vote for, because we're like, wow, this person's different. But different from what? The expectation is corruption, you know? And he's corrupt in a way that's truly disappointing. It's a shame. It's embarrassing how easy a politician is to buy. You could lease a new Subaru, or you could buy a politician depending on the position of the state. The things these people go down for, we're talking not money if we're talking politics, right? Like if I was a senator and I wanted to be corrupt, you'd have to get me good. You have to take care of me, because I might lose my job. I might go to jail. I need a nest egg to protect me. You know, something to look forward to while I'm in jail doing all that time for doing you a favor and being corrupt. Like, that's why I don't agree with it, and I'm glad he's going down for it. But Menendez makes sense. He took gold bars. That's cartoonish corruption. That is like full on 1950s cartoon corruption. That is New Yorker political cartoon corruption. To just take actual gold bars. Where do you get gold bars from? And then take the gold bars to do the favor for the person. This is what's funny about Eric Adams being indicted, is that New York City is, and this is coming from someone who lives there, and I do love it in New York, right? But New York is a dirty place, all right? Inside and out, okay? It's one of the more corrupt places. So to be the first mayor to ever be indicted with corruption charges in New York City, you gotta be one of the dumbest people who has ever lived. It's a city of corruption and you got caught. That's crazy. Sometimes I can't believe it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure he could believe it. He was like, y'all, this is what we do. How y'all gonna get mad now? I did the regular amount of corruption. I didn't even go overboard. I got some flights upgraded. Why would y'all? No, it is that dumb. This dude, Eric Adams' corruption is so petty. This dude about to go to jail because he let Turkey upgrade some flights for him. He basically is gonna go to jail for what is Delta Gold Medallion. Like, it's very petty. Some nice meals, some flights. That's great. That our mayor, New York's mayor, all it took to buy him was just treat him like a bad bitch for a night. Like, do you know how embarrassing that is? Do you know how much money is in New York? I need at least 6 skyscrapers to be as corrupt as Eric Adams. I'd be like, take care of me. No, I need land. What are you talking about, a flight? A flight where I might fall asleep and miss my corruption? No. Because sometimes you get upgraded by your airline, you get all excited, you like, oh, I'm sitting in, got the extra leg room and everything. I can kick for no reason and stuff. And then you wake up at the destination and you're like, dang, I didn't even enjoy the free glass of champagne and orange juice. That's his level of corruption. It's so dumb. He sucks. But Eric Adams started as a cop, right? And I actually watched this video of him. It was a very entertaining watch. Basically, when he was a cop, he did a video. Maybe he was still a cop. I don't know. Maybe it retired. But anyway, he used his police expertise to make the video. And it's basically a video where he shows parents how to search their children's rooms for drugs and guns, right? And the thing that's amazing about it is that clearly one of two things happened. Either Eric Adams told whoever was shooting the video to just go fill a room full of crack, or Eric Adams kept using the same 6 crack rocks in between takes. Because he was pulling crack out of places that didn't really make any sense. Like those. When you have crack, the intention is to smoke it or sell it. And where he was pulling, because then, first of all, the room didn't make sense. Because the room is supposed to be a child's room, right? But the room has stuff for a kid that's about to head off to college or somebody in preschool. Like, there's just too much going on in the room. The room makes sense if you were never going to leave that room for 26 years. Like, it doesn't... The room did not make sense at all. So then Eric Adams would do weird stuff, like he'd be like, looks like a regular tricycle, right? But if you pop this tire right quick, you pop this tire, pull it out, what do we find? Crack cocaine. It was incredible. Like, looks like a regular doll, huh? But if you stab it in the back and rip it open, what do we find? Crack cocaine. And honestly, like, look, I even get the spirit behind what he's doing, but if your child is on crack, there will be other signs. Besides a heavy tricycle wheel. I've never seen a kid on a bike with a flat tire and been like, we're losing the youth. It's insane. This dude is over here going, a simple jewelry box. But if we open it, what do we find? A loaded gun. A pillow? You gave your child a pillow? And thought that they weren't gonna do the worst with it? You reach in that pillowcase, what do you find? A Glock. My favorite was standing near a bookcase, and he didn't say these words exactly, but the feeling that I got when I was watching him was just, you think your child reads? You think your little baby boy, baby girl reading in here? No. They're a child, and we all know children are what? Crackheads. You open this book, and what do you find? What spills out? Crack cocaine. No, it was incredible. It was truly, the only thing he did do was pull crack out of the gun. Like, but, and I can't stress this enough, Eric Adams is like terrible. He really is. Like, he really is. He's the worst. It's so bad. He sucks. He sucks so much. You should be so glad he's not your mayor. Like, that's... Oh, man. I'll be honest with you. I didn't do the research. I don't know who your mayor is. I just know it's not Eric Adams. So you got two legs up on New York City. This dude, first of all, when he was running, he was corrupt. The dude was running, and he was already doing stuff where we were like, if it's not illegal, it's weird. This dude told the story of, because, you know, he's a cop, and he reminds everybody all the time they used to be a cop, right? And it depends, because he does a thing that's real sneaky. He's really good at it, right? Where he was a black cop. So in some rooms, he's black. In some rooms, I used to be a cop. And never the two rooms shall meet. If like... It's crazy. Okay, so this dude, when he was running, would tell the story of a fallen officer, right? His friend that he loved dearly, who died in the line of duty, and he loved his friend so much that he keeps a picture of him in his wallet with him all the time, right? And it's a heartwarming story because no matter your feelings on cops, no matter your feelings on like the criminal justice system, I think everyone can understand what it's like to lose a friend, right? You can understand what it's like to lose, especially when you lose a friend when you're both in danger. Maybe you both were in the military together. Maybe you're both cops. Maybe you served in some way and then you lost your friend. And no one's going to know what that was like except for people who it also happened to, right? And he kept the picture in his wallet. Except the picture in his wallet that he showed people was printed out by his staff members, and they threw a little coffee on it to make it look old. And that's before he did anything illegal. This dude is the devil. Like, he really sucks. This dude, I don't even know how he won. He doesn't live in New York. You know how usually you have to live where you're the mayor of? I'm not going to make any assumptions about your mayor, but I'm assuming they live here. I imagine your mayor doesn't actually live in Illinois. That would be weird, right? To come over and be like, hey, I'm here with y'all. We're in this together. I'ma go, though. Dude lived in Jersey. And then it got outed that he lived in Jersey. And so at the last second, he had the New York Times try to help him cover it. And they did a profile of him at his house in Brooklyn that he was clearly walking into for the first time. It's like... This dude walked in. You could tell he had never been in there before. He over here like, and as you can see, my wall. If you don't have one, you got to get one. All right, these walls are fire. This dude walked in, and clearly, whatever staff was trying to help him look like he lived there, I feel like they tried to like Ocean's 11 it and like did it a little too late because they were clearly moving stuff into the place to make it look furnished. But then he probably called them and told like, hey, I'm on the way now. Y'all got to get out because the apartment did not make sense. You walk in and in the living room is the bed. That's an intern who had to drop the bed like as they what? And then, you know, they go, he opens the fridge because he really tried to do this MTV Cribs for the New York Times, right? And so then he opens the fridge and he's like, blat out my snacks, right? And there is way too much meat for Adams to be a vegan. There's so much meat. It looked like it was stocked by Hillshire Farms. There's way too much meat in there. Not even mistakable meat. Not even like, oh, I thought the Impossible Burger. Like, it was full-on meat. And when they ask him about it, he's like, oh, my son be sneaking in, you know what I mean? You know, because you know how when you have kids, you know, as parents, you know how when you have kids, they sneak into your home and leave food, you know what I mean? In the fridge uneaten. You know how children are. All they do is leave food in the fridge and smoke crack. That's what children do. This dude is the worst. This man brought back stop and frisk. if you don't know what stop and frisk is, it was practice in New York where basically the police could stop you at any time and frisk you, check you for drugs and weapons and stuff like that. It was very popular under like Giuliani and stuff, but it was like found to be pretty disproportionate because they would just stay in one place and check everybody there. You know? So it was just black and brown people. It was mostly black and Hispanic people that were like stopped and frisked. And it didn't even really work because the people with guns and drugs were like, I'll stay home. You know, they found when they did studies on it that, you know, more often than not, it was men, over 9% men. So it's like 99.3% men of the stop and frisk. And then also in the 90s were black and brown people. So it was like, I think like 5% white, right? Which is just go all over New York. You're allowed to stop and frisk. Just stop and frisk everywhere. Just do the Upper West Side. Do you know what I mean? Just be like, hey, what's in the briefcase though? That could be full of anything. But they didn't, so it was found to be like an unconstitutional practice. It was found unconstitutional in 2013, and the New York police like disbanded fully in 2020, and then Eric Adams brought it back. Which is odd, because this is my thing about Eric Adams, and what I mean about that chameleon move that he does is that Eric Adams, I don't even know the exact particulars of the story. All I know is that he was arrested when he was a kid. Some people say he was a member of a gang himself, right? And that he, got beat up by the police. He tells this story of being a victim of police brutality at like 14, 15. Him and his friend got caught. They had done two things. I think they had stolen some checks or something, and they stole something else, and it was when they were trying to cash the stolen check they got caught, and basically they got beat up at the police station. And apparently the way that I believe Eric tells it is that these white cops were beating him and his friend up, and then a black cop came in and told him to stop. And he was like, and that was the moment I decided that I wanted to be a police officer, turn my life around, everything, because I just saw the way that black cop moved, right? He's like, I saw the power, the respect. I saw the fear that people had, you know, and I was like, that, oh, okay. It's a weird thing to pull from that lesson, but all right. We're all our own people. And so it's weird to me that he's so adamant about being punitive as someone who grew up the way that he grew up. It's very odd that he doesn't see himself in any of the youth that he wants to arrest or wants to punish. Like and that's even only part of why he sucks. Like, he sucks. This dude sucks so much. He's the worst. They opened the investigation into Eric Adams the way that the feds do, which is quietly. You know what I mean? The thing that's scary about the feds is that they always get you. Their conviction rate is in the 90s. So it's basically done. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, when they show up, it's only a matter of time, right? And the feds opened an investigation into them, and this is like a year ago, that they came through and they were like, hey, we're gonna need everybody's cell phone. Your whole team, right? Which is already not great. Probably every mean thing I've ever said is on my cell phone. Do you know what I mean? Like, I try to be a good person, but if you pull up on me and you snatch my cell phone, you're gonna be like, oh, you an asshole, okay. The cell phone feels safe. You know, and the feds roll up and, you know, take his laptop, his cell phone, everything. And this is how you know, this is how a guilty dude moves, right? So he goes ahead and gets swooped on when the feds come and get everybody's cell phone, and he's like, oh, actually, my cell phone, I don't have it on me, right? I don't have it. And they were like, okay, we'll bring it first thing tomorrow. And he brings it. Next day, brings it, right? And then he's like, actually, I had changed my password to keep my aides out of my phone, because you know how aides are, always trying to face ID you and see what your business is and everything, even though you email them personally and stuff. But like, try to keep my aides out of my phone. So went ahead and I'm giving it to you now, but just know that I had to change the password, keep my aides out of my phone, and I just forgot it. This dude moves like a man who cheats. Like, that's crazy. And the feds basically had so much on them that they were like, oh, we don't need your phone. Because we have every other phone that you text. Ooh. There's even instances of Adam's aides knowing things were illegal and then being like, y'all, this is illegal. They said it in the text, but y'all, this is illegal. I don't think he'll want to do it. And then you know that text bubble? He'd be like, hey, this is illegal. I don't know if he'll want to do it. And then the person from Turkey or wherever would be like, are you sure? And then the text bubble. That bubble be cooking, right? That bubble be bubbling up, right? And then it go away for a second. And then it come back and be like, never mind, he's down. The amount of times that his aide said to other people, this is illegal. And then several texts later be like, so when are we? It was incredible, man. It's really fascinating. And then there was like, I think it was like one of his campaign aides, one of the people that worked under him, was being interrogated. And as soon as she realized the interrogation wasn't friendly, she was like, can I go to the bathroom real quick? And so they were like, yeah, sure. And then she went to the bathroom and apparently started mass deleting as many text messages as she could. But then she was in there so long that the fans were like, she deleted text messages. Like, nobody got a boo-boo that bad. Like, I mean, who knows? Maybe she is shitting herself, but not. I can just imagine you realize your boss about to go to jail, you might go to jail too, and now you in the bathroom just, I'll be right out. Oh, it's bad. Oh no. Y'all still there? I can't stress this enough. This dude sucks. Like, it's like, okay. Maybe one of the funniest things about the whole case is that we don't definitively know one way or the other, but there's a chance that this dude would, like, the last straw that broke everything, that had the roof come tumbling down, that kicked over his house of cards, might have been, maybe, Sabrina Carpenter. Inadvertently. I don't know if you remember, but Sabrina Carpenter did a music video for a song called Feather, right? And in that music video, she's in a church, right? And she got permission to be in that church. As controversial as everything was, and as much as the archdiocese freaked out after they saw the video and as upset as people were, she got permission, right? She did the right thing, and she asked, can I do my video here? She didn't just run in and be like, quick. She did everything by the book. Right? And the person that allowed her was a Monsignor, right? This Monsignor gave permission, shooting the church and everything. And then when the video comes out, obviously the archdiocese is all upset and stuff. They're like, nothing provocative or sexual should be in a church. That's what they said. Don't get weird with me. And so then they demoted the Monsignor. That's how mad they were, you know? They didn't fire him because I guess it's impossible to get fired at a church. You know, anybody else, any other job, they would have been like, you gotta go. But Catholic Church, they're like, no, we'll move you. Don't worry. And basically, one of the things that came from that whole thing, especially how public it was the feds subpoenaed the archdiocese over the Monsignor because he had connections, like as in a relationship or maybe even a business relationship with Eric Adams' chief of staff, right? And so they were like looking into it, and then Sabrina Carpenter's moved on. She just sort of like, oh, I didn't realize it. Whoops. And I don't know. I think that people don't realize how much trouble Eric Adams is in because this isn't like a police thing. This isn't like a local police or something. Like local police could run cover for a mayor. And so Eric Adams gets indicted, right? Present day, he gets indicted, and this dude holds a press conference. It's one of the worst press conferences I've ever watched in my entire life. This is incredible. People talk about Giuliani and everything when he did that 4 Seasons press conference and stuff like that. Not gonna lie, this one put that one to shame, okay? This one was really, but first of all, they decided to do it outside. I don't really know why, but maybe he's not allowed in buildings. I have no idea. But they decided to do it outside, and they had a tent up because it was raining. But Eric Adams and he does this a lot. He does this in a way, this is one of the reasons I can't stand Eric Adams. This is one of the things that makes him suck, right? Is that whenever he's in trouble, whenever he needs something, he's very, very black. You know, and so now that he's in trouble, he has gathered around him every black person that will stand next to him, I suppose. And so he had everybody. He had so many people that they couldn't all fit under the tent. So now there are some people getting rained on halfway, just trying to lean in and everything. Do the one-sided thing. And the press conference starts, and there's protesters at the press conference. And, you know, Adams did some weird stuff. Like when he got indicted, he did like a message to New Yorkers and everything. And in the message, he says, like, I knew as soon as I stood up for New York, I would become a target. And then we were like, when did you stand up and who is targeting you? Like, this is odd. I've heard this language before, but I've never seen it make less sense since the last time I heard it. Yeah. And finally, you know, he goes ahead, he's doing press conference and stuff, and there's protesters there. And the protesters are screaming at him. They're like, you're an embarrassment. Don't try to act black now. You brought back stop and frisk. You brought back every policy that came down hard on the black community, but now you want to be black because you're in trouble and you want us to back you up and everything. And they're yelling. And the whole time, Eric Adams like, You ever been at a restaurant and there's a couple trying not to fight? And then finally one of them can't take it anymore, and she stands up and she's like, you cheating bastard, or whatever. And then he's like, It was that. And so he just stands like, okay. And then he lets people speak for him, right? So his pastor speaks, and his other pastor speaks, and I think another pastor speaks. You go to extra church when you're in trouble, right? So then pastor after pastor after pastor are speaking, right? And all the pastors are like, hey, listen, we don't even know. Everybody has to have their day in court. Like, no one is actually professing this dude's innocence. Everybody's like, yeah, you can't judge lest ye be judged. And once again, remember, I told you it's one of the worst press conferences I ever seen, because not only can not everybody fit under the tent, and not only are the people not making a convincing argument for Adams to be innocent, which is what we would very much like our elected official to be, right? This one lady gets up there, and she's been the loudest against the other protesters. She's like, shut up, let him speak, blah, 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 right? And so it's her turn to speak. And then she gets up there, and she's like, good morning, New York! Like, she's just trying to shout everybody down. She's like, I've known Eric Adams for 40 years! And she's just screaming, right? And he is completely... And then the mic starts going out. Completely... And he's not corrupt with it. Thank you. And then the dude went up there, and I don't really know what his position was. I don't know. He might have just been a black dude Eric Adams pulled that day, because this guy gets up there and he goes, good morning, New York. Good morning, New York. I've known Eric Adams for years, and he is, for 64 years, he has loved and served New York, and we cannot throw away 64 years over 5 indictments. He is 64. And I was like, where's the logic going here? You want that dude to be innocent because he's 64? Like, is that... There's no way he served 64. He just is alive for 64 years. But this dude was slick with it. He was like, do not throw away 64 years over 5 indictments. Nobody gonna kill him. Like, what are you talking about? Throwing away 64, we're not dating him. He got indicted. Do not throw away 64 years over 5 indictments. He is 64, thank you. I feel like that's the only dude that Eric Adams was like, probably should let that be a tweet. And then it's Eric Adams' turn, right? And then counter-protesters are yelling. They're like, you're an embarrassment. You're an embarrassment to black people. You are an absolute embarrassment to the city, okay? You trying to make it a black thing. It's not a black thing. It's a you thing. You're corrupt. You're corrupt by yourself. It's not a black thing. It's a you thing, right? This dude's screaming. And he's like, what? Why is anything you're saying different from Trump? You talking about you standing in the way. Stand in the way of what? You corrupt by yourself, right? And then Eric Adams like, and then he starts taking questions, right? And some of the questions were, you said that as soon as you stood up for New Yorkers, you would become a target. Who do you think you're a target of? Like Homeland Security, or what? There are government bodies that are serving you this indictment. Who do you think is targeting you, and why? And then he was like, that's a question for the federal government. And I was like, okay, not a great start. And then he goes, let me just get something clear right now. All right? And then the mic cuts out completely. It's like, I just want to say to y'all, that's all I gotta say. This is incredible, Incredible. I don't know. I would love to see Eric Adams go to Rikers. I mean, particularly because of the terrible job he's done with Rikers. Just so you know, Rikers is a horrific place. It's been compared to Guantanamo Bay. Mainly because most of the people in Rikers, around 85%, have not been convicted of a crime. They just cannot afford to get off Rikers. They can't afford to pay bail and stuff like that. But they sit there until the trial, and the trial is sometimes 8 months away, 9 months away. So they're potentially innocent people just sitting there, rotting in a jail in terrible conditions because they just didn't have money. Any one of us could not have money. Most of us don't have enough money for the things we would like. So that's how close we are to being them. You know? And it's so bad that there's a federal monitor that's like over Rikers. And Eric Adams has worked with Rikers to subvert everything that would have them comply with the federal monitor. Right? It's horrific. And all they've really done is like try to throw money and staffing at the problem, but then money and staffing have become the problem because now Rikers is such a cushy job that there are a lot of people who don't show up for work. So now they really are wasting money because they'll be understaffed on a day where everyone is scheduled and then everyone calls in sick. And then people die at Rikers. People die every year at Rikers. You know? It's absolutely insane. And the staffing, if I'm correct, maybe I'm wrong, right? But last time I looked it up, the staffing was like 2 to 1. Right. No jail has 2 to 1. Right. No jail anywhere has 2 to 1, you know? And so what a poetic thing it would be, you know, for the guy that a year ago gave the key to the city to Diddy. To also be like indicted and charged and sitting in Rikers. It'd be dope to see Eric Adams at Rikers. They just, he gets there and they're like, "What's up, buddy?" "Let's talk." Oh. And so many people have resigned too. So many people have resigned from Eric Adams' administration that I don't know who works at New York anymore. It's a lot of people. People nobody was talking to, by the way. Like people who just are like, I'm just in charge of the library, but I'm gonna go because the block is hot. I don't want these problems. When I